Looks maxing popularity has reached an all-time high. For that reason, I hope you guys are getting a lot more handsome. However, once you get more handsome, the way you interact with women should also change. So today I gathered some things that handsome men should never do with women. And this isn't only from my experience, but from other handsome men I've been around too. We all follow the same rules. First, we gotta establish, what does being handsome mean? So I would say if you're at least a 7.5 out of 10, you are officially handsome. I feel like a lot of guys cope and think handsome is like being a 6 or 6.5 out of 10. You're cute, but you're not handsome. Like, there's levels to the handsomeness, guys. So yes, you can still watch this video. If you're not officially 7.5 out of 10, you may still got some room you can work, but at this point, you're officially above average. You're actually getting external validation on your handsomeness. So either women approach you, women come up to you all the time, say you're handsome, women DM you. Getting matches on dating apps is literally effortless. So all these are actually signs that you are handsome, so keep that in mind. So the first thing that handsome men should never do is chase women. I know at some point we all have our phase where we're just going after girls, sending a lot of DMs. Maybe we're cold approaching, like we're really just chasing after these girls. But if you're a handsome guy, you actually start to be more selective of who you're actually dealing with. And from there, you raise your standards because you have a commodity that is actually pretty rare. Female beauty is everywhere, but a genuinely handsome guy, that's actually hard to find. So for that reason, you should actually only deal with women who have true, burning, genuine desire. Now, there are many ways to actually see if a woman has burning, genuine desire, but one of the first ways to not do it is to actually chase. And this goes with persistence too. You know, the whole persistence game where, you know, a girl's not really showing interest, or she may be like medium to low interest, and you kind of keep texting her to sort of convince her to go out with you. As a handsome guy, stop doing that, guys. Stop it, stop it, stop it, because you're at the point where you should have enough volume and enough abundance to where you actually have so many high interest women that you actually forget about these medium and low interest girls. I would say that's one of the biggest differences I've noticed once I increased my looks. And I've been in the dating game from both perspectives of being, I never was ugly, but more so the average sort of look versus my, you know, handsomeness now. Like, I noticed back in the day, I was really persistent. Like, I would get some girls to go out on a date with me after they left me on red. And overall, it never led to something genuine and that burning desire sort of interaction you have with a woman who's actually really into you. So leave chasing, leave the persistence game, leave all that sort of mentality to the, you know, average to below average guys, because that's what they need to do. As handsome guys, we are way past that. So also what you need to do is actually leverage your strengths. If you have the image, if you got the handsomeness, if you don't have an online dating strategy, like literally, what are you doing? This is your playground. Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, this is literally your playground. Sure, you can still cold approach, you can still approach women. I don't believe all cold approaches are considered chasing. It really depends on the interaction. If it was a warm approach, her sort of vibe and signals as she's talking to you, what she's doing. But if she's like sort of like placed off, not interested in you, but you're still pursuing and trying to talk to her, then once again, that goes more into the chase mentality, where you could have had an online image, a good digital presentation, present that in the best way possible, and then have women coming to you. I actually have a guy in my Digital Romeo mentorship, really handsome guy. He's only 19 years old, and we actually just did a photo shoot for him, and he is now getting the most attention from women he's ever gotten. And that's simply because he wasn't leveraging his strengths of his own handsomeness in order to attract women into his life. Whereas before, he was kind of, you know, doing the old school way. But I told him, I was like, man, just one photo shoot can really change your dating life. And it certainly has. Now, I'll start with that. As a handsome man, you should never pedestalize beauty. A lot of average to unattractive guys, they'll always pedestalize a woman's beauty. But since you made yourself more attractive, you start to look at beauty differently. If anything, you start critiquing a woman's own beauty. I know I've done that for myself. I started making myself more handsome, and I'm starting to notice the flaws in these so-called really beautiful and attractive women that I tend to meet. Not because I really want to, but because I think this is a problem with looks maxing, honestly. It's made me so hyper aware of beauty flaws and just flaws in people, so that I can actually physically see flaws in people even if they're considered beautiful or at A+. I believe that's a good thing because it forces me to not pedestalize her beauty and kind of see her as a normal person, while at the same time I can still appreciate her effort into her beauty and just overall her as a woman, as a person. But I'm not, you know, kind of wow, like you're so gorgeous, so beautiful. Like I'm kind of unfazed by it. Because also as a handsome man, you'll notice that you'll start to deal with more attractive women on a consistent basis. And for that reason, you just overall tend to get desensitized to beauty overall. That goes with anything, money too. If you've been making a lot of money for a long time, you looking at $1,000 or a few $1,000s or even a few $100,000 in some cases, you're kind of unfazed by it, you know? I think Drake mentioned in the song how he treats $1 million like 100,000. You know, that's because just the desensitization just overall goes down over time. So point is, never pedestalize beauty, but overall you probably won't anyway, just because of your natural standards increasing. Now the next one's a little controversial. I hate to say it, but handsome men should never wait for the box. Guys, I realized ever since, it's probably a combination of both, increasing my status and also increasing my looks, but for some reason, some girls would leverage the box against you for more dates, more compliance, just because they think that you can get it everywhere, which to some degree is true, you know. Women and access does come a little bit easier, but these women will actually try to make you wait simply because you're more handsome. And so for me, I always tend to follow like a 3-date rule. Shout out to AMS, I learned that a long time ago. And there's some cases where I've actually stopped talking to a girl, or I actually just cut my losses, because I knew somewhere in her past, like recently in her past, like a year or 2 years ago, she was kind of going out, being a party girl, giving it up quick. But for me, you find me really attractive, you perceive me as an A+, you want me to wait, you know? And there's a lot of reasons into that too. Some girls, if you're more handsome, they actually naturally place you more in the husband or the boyfriend box because they see a future with you. Think about us guys do the same thing, right? Where a girl we perceive really attractive, we're more likely to date her than a girl we kind of find cute, but we'll still sleep with her, right? So girls will do the same thing, but as a handsome guy, you gotta hold true to your boundaries and your standards. Some of you guys are a lot more patient than I am in terms of that, but I believe if you're a handsome guy, if you're truly in abundance, you're not waiting for the box from one particular chick, unless you just really like her, you really see a future with her. But besides that, no, because the guy who she perceives as less attractive than you, best believe she slept with him on date 1, date 2 at the max, and here you are going out on multiple dates, date 5, date 6, and all she did was give you a kiss on the cheek. No thank you. Now the last thing that handsome men should never do with women is actually settle. Think about it, a lot of average men or below average men, they kind of get whatever they can get. One girl gives them attention who might not really be on his level looks wise, but she gets some attention. He has consistent sex, like it's a girl who he kind of grew to like, so he sort of settles. This happens all the time from both genders. But if you're handsome, you will date somebody no less than at least 1 point lower than you. So if you're perceived as a 7.5 right now, which I believe all handsome men, your minimum is 7.5, you should not go lower than a 6.5. I would say actually like a 7, because over time, the more you deal with the girl, you'll actually start to reduce her bar a point or two just because you get used to the beauty. So for that reason, for me myself, if I'm dating somebody long-term, from a looks perspective only, I'm talking about looks, guys, not personality, not compliance, not any of that stuff, just purely looks, she has to be at least an 8. At least an 8, guys. Like, of course, I've had my time with, you know, lower attractive women here and there, especially in my past. But once again, as your handsomeness increases, that's a form of leverage, and for that reason, your standards increase. It's the same reason why a guy makes more money and then his standards increase in all areas of his life, not only through financial aspects, but also with the woman he's dealing with. Wolf of Wall Street is a great example. You guys watched the movie. Jordan Belfort, what did he do? He started making more money, and then he replaced his old wife with a new hot one because his standards and his access increase. As a handsome guy, you don't have as much leverage as making a lot of money, but that's still a form of leverage. And for that reason, your standards should increase, and you should never, ever settle. When you think about it, actually, there's a lot of handsome guys that actually up the dating market, because what happens, right? When you become like at least a 7.5 or an 8, you'll start to have 4s, 5s, and 6s kind of chasing after you, right? Because remember the attraction theory, you're gonna attract women about 1 to 2 points lower than you on a consistent basis naturally. So a lot of handsome guys will actually sleep with like these 4s, 5s, and 6s, but they will only date 7s and 8s, which is essentially what I'm saying. In some cases, I would say increase your standards overall. Like stop sleeping with the 4s, 5s, and 6s, like leave those to like the guys who are on that level and only deal with women of equal attractiveness or even higher if you can actually arrange that. It's super hard to do, but if you can arrange that and you have more leverage in other areas, definitely try to do that. And then maybe the dating market might become more balanced. And if everybody just starts messing with their looks match on a consistent basis, that actually might help the dating market overall. All right, so guys, those were the things that handsome men should never do. If I forgot one, let me know down below. And also don't forget to subscribe, like, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Peace.